Hello everyone, my name is Zenitra Barrett and I live in New York City. So what do I do for work? I am the point of sale director of strategy and education for HBO. Now what does that even mean? So if you're familiar with TV subscriptions, in order to sign up for HBO, you have to go through your cable company for most people who have our product. So I am responsible for making sure the people that actually sell HBO, so those folks that you call up whenever you have, when you want to set up your cable, I'm responsible for making sure that those folks have all of the knowledge and information on HBO so that they can sell our product. Because keep in mind, you're not buying HBO from HBO. Traditionally, you're going through your cable company. So I create all of the talking points so that our field team can go out into those call centers and teach those agents how to sell HBO, creating what they should focus on, and just making sure that whenever the customer calls up, the agent has all of the correct information to share with them to convince them to subscribe to HBO. Now, for this role, there actually can be a lot of travel that's associated with it. It depends on the project. So, one way that I would have to travel is going out to the actual call centers just for an assessment to check in and see if our products are being launched the right way, if agents are being trained, to make sure that they have all of the information that they need in order to be successful in their job. So every now and again, maybe quarterly, I go out to work with the different call centers to make sure they have everything that they need. Additionally, travel comes into play for specific projects. We were just recently working on this huge research project where we were going out to the call centers and trying to figure out what's the best language to use in order to get customers to upgrade from their regular package to one that includes HBO. So for that, there was actually a lot of a lot of travel that went into that. So for about 8 weeks consecutively, I was on the road traveling to different call centers. So depending on the project, this job can be very travel intensive, or depending on the time of year, it may just be something like once a quarter. So it fluctuates. One of the interesting things about my job is that I don't have a traditional background as it relates to sales or even marketing, which is a category that my group falls under. My background is actually in accounting, believe it or not. So I went to college, studied accounting, got my degree, got a BBA with a focus in accounting, and eventually I ended up in sales and marketing. But the interesting thing about that is that it just goes to show that when you get ready to go to college and you decide your major, you're not tied to that one field. You're able to use the different skill sets that you learn, whether it's through college or real world experience, and you can apply it to any other job. So within my department, I'm one of the people who has more of a finance or accounting background, even though I'm working in sales and marketing. So that's something that you don't traditionally find on this side. One of the challenging things about my job is that I'm working with a lot of different audiences. So the product that I'm creating has to appease a lot of different people. So I create the strategy. I decide what we're going to say, how we're going to say it, how that'll be laid out on different posters and job aids. But I have to work with the actual team that creates the job aids for them to do all of the layout and the creative and make it fun and easy to read and understand. Then it moves to the actual marketing department. And the marketing department is a specific group of people that supports the account team. So there's an account team for Cox, and there's an account team for Charter and Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, Dish Networks, or even DirecTV. Each one of those cable affiliates has an account team, and for each one of those account teams, there's a marketing team that supports them. So after we create the strategy, it goes to the tactics team and moves from the tactics team to the marketing team. So the marketing team can work with the account team to make sure that the information is presented in a way that works well for what their priorities are for the account. So I am working with not only a lot of different groups, but keep in mind that the end user, the person who's actually going to utilize this information, is our field team, as well as the actual agents who are going to be on the phone. So there's a few steps in between what my team is creating and when it actually gets to the people who are going to be using this information. So there's a lot of layers that comes with that, and a lot of people need to weigh in, and you have to think about how can you create a product that works for all of the different stakeholders, all of the different players, all of the different people that's going to use your work so that they can be successful at their job. So that definitely makes it a bit challenging, but that's one of the things that I actually enjoy the most. Speaking to some of the specific courses that I had to take, as I mentioned before, even though my degree is in accounting, that information from an analytical standpoint, just being able to look at numbers and decide what does this mean and what decisions do we need to make based off of these numbers, that absolutely comes into play here. My business degree as a whole, I'm pretty much utilizing all of the different classes that I took, whether it's a management class, I have a team that I have to manage and support, I have to manage projects, so making sure things get done in a timely manner and communicating with everyone where things lie, when we think projects will be done, if there are any delays. So there's a management piece. There's also understanding of marketing, knowing what information resonates with the customer. What's the best way to present something so that it grabs your eye and grabs your attention. So there's a marketing piece. Also finance. We have to manage our budgets. So whenever we're creating these different research projects, or we're creating these different posters and job aids, there's money that has to be spent to get all of that done. So there's a finance component to it as well. So pretty much everything from a business background I use in my current role, as well as communication. I mean, we're doing presentations, oral communication, written communication, all of those things are important in my job. So there isn't one specific course that works best in terms of preparing me for this job, but it's really the total of all of them combined, and that's what made me successful here. On average, I work around 50 hours a week. We have a set 40-hour work week, but duty calls, so sometimes you have to put in those extra hours. So I would say on average it's about 50 hours. There are some weeks where it may reach the 60-hour point, but then, there would be some where I'd be down to 40 hours. Very lucky that our job is super flexible, and I'm able to take vacation time or take time to kind of handle personal business. So even though there are times where I'm working 50 or even 60-hour work weeks, the job is really flexible, and it allows me to take time without needing to take vacation in order to handle other things in my life. On a scale of 1 to 10, how often do I work with people? I would say 10. As I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of different groups that touch the work that I do. So I'm working with people on a daily basis. And definitely isn't a job where you can kind of sit at your desk and put your head down and get things done. It's definitely something that requires a lot of collaboration. You have to be able to communicate effectively so that everyone is kept in the loop on what their roles and responsibilities are for the projects that you're managing. So I hope this gave you a little more insight into my role of Point of Sale Director, Strategy and Education. Thanks.